What does it actually cost to love someone who was never fully honest with you? Not emotionally, not in feelings, concretely, in real life, in things you can count and measure and never get back, because the internet celebrated this love story, but nobody sat down and did the math. Today, we do the math, and the answer is going to make you uncomfortable. Here is something worth thinking about. When two people fall in love, they both bring something to the relationship, and they both give something up for it. The question that separates a healthy relationship from an unequal one is simple. Is what you gave up roughly equal to what the other person gave up? Because love does not exist in a vacuum. It exists inside real lives, with real careers and real families and real identities that either survive the relationship or get consumed by it. Watch Sergio and Raquel's love story through that lens, not through the music, not through the cinematography, not through the romantic framing. The show deliberately wraps around every moment they share through that one simple question: who paid more? Before we talk about what Raquel lost, we need to understand what Raquel was, because the show introduces her as the inspector assigned to the heist, the professional, the negotiator, the woman with the badge and the authority and the resources of the Spanish police behind her. But underneath that professional identity was something far more important. Raquel Murillo was a woman who had already been broken once and rebuilt herself completely. She had survived a marriage to a man who hurt her. She had filed the restraining order when most people in her position would have stayed silent. She had fought for custody of her daughter in a courtroom while her ex-husband used her own sister against her. She had kept working through all of it in an institution full of colleagues who dismissed her, and she had kept rising. That is not a small thing. That is a woman with an extraordinary amount of inner strength who had chosen after everything to trust in herself, to build something real on her own terms. When Sergio found her, she was not broken. She was not desperate. She was carrying weight, enormous weight, but she was carrying it standing up, understanding that matters. Because what happens next is not the story of a vulnerable woman who needed rescuing. It is the story of a strong woman who deserved better than what love cost her. Think about the psychology of what Raquel was experiencing during the first heist. She was managing the highest pressure professional situation of her career. Police on one side, hostages inside, media outside, colleagues already questioning her every decision, an abusive ex-husband using her daughter as leverage, a mother whose memory was fading, everything professionally and personally pressing down on her simultaneously. And in the middle of all of that, a man appeared who understood her. Not just listened, understood. Who noticed the things nobody else noticed? Who made space for her in a way nobody around her was making space? Who showed up consistently, gently, intelligently at exactly the moments she needed someone to show up? That feeling of being truly seen by another person when you have been invisible for so long is one of the most powerful human experiences that exists. And Raquel felt it completely. Now here is the psychological reality of that situation. Everything she felt was real. Her emotions were genuine. Her connection to Salvador Martin was not imagined or manufactured on her side. But Salvador Martin did not exist. The man she fell for, the man who understood her so completely, had studied her vulnerabilities before he introduced himself. He knew exactly which version of himself to present to a woman carrying exactly her specific wounds. That is not connection. That is targeting. And the most painful psychological truth about what Raquel experienced is this: she fell in love with a man who had prepared to make her fall in love with him. Her feelings were real. His preparation was deliberate. That gap between her genuine emotion and his calculated approach is the foundation crack that ran underneath their entire relationship. And no matter how real it became later, that crack never fully closed. Now, let us talk about sacrifice, because both Sergio and Raquel sacrificed for this relationship. The question is not whether they both gave something. The question is what they each gave and whether those things were equal. Sergio gave up his emotional distance. The professor was a man sealed inside total self-control, and loving Raquel cracked that open. He became vulnerable. He broke down at moments. The old version of him would never have allowed. That was real, and it cost him something genuine. But here is what Raquel gave up. She gave up her career, not temporarily, permanently. The years she spent building a reputation inside the National Police Corps gone, the professional identity she had constructed after her marriage collapsed gone. She gave up her freedom. A year in hiding on an island, not vacation, not peace. Hiding, inside Sergio's plan. She gave up her daily presence in her daughter's life. She sat in a prison cell. She was fake executed. She crossed every moral and professional line she had ever drawn. Now ask yourself, what did Sergio cross? He held an earpiece. He watched the woman he loved get fake executed and broke down. That pain was genuine. Nobody is dismissing it. But he watched it from outside. She lived it from inside. That is the difference between what they each gave. And no amount of romantic music changes that arithmetic. Here is the conversation nobody wants to have about Raquel Murillo. When she chose Sergio, she did not just choose him over her career. She chose him over the two people who needed her most, her mother and her daughter. Marivi was already losing her memory when the first heist began. A woman slipping away, slowly needing daily presence from the one person she trusted completely. Raquel was that person. Paula was 7 years old during the Royal Mint heist, a shy girl who already did not understand why she saw her father so little, a child who needed her mother to be the one permanent, unshakable presence in her life. When Raquel left for Palawan, she left both of them for a year. That is not a criticism of her love. That is the full, honest picture of what her love actually cost. Not just professionally, not just personally, in the lives of the two people who were entirely dependent on her being present. The professor's plan required many things from many people, but only one person was asked to leave her mother and her child behind to make it work. Here is the most uncomfortable truth about Raquel Murillo's story. The show presents her transformation as liberation. She started as an inspector in a broken institution that never fully respected her. She ended as Lisbon, a member of the most wanted criminal gang in Spanish history, flying out of Spain with a fake passport and a new identity. And the music swells, and the audience exhales, and everyone calls it a happy ending. But think about what that transformation actually required. It required Raquel to lose everything she had built before Sergio completely and permanently before she could access the thing the show was offering her at the end. Her career did not survive. Her public identity did not survive. Her ability to walk through her own country under her own name did not survive. The show dressed that total destruction as growth, as a woman finally breaking free from a system that had undervalued her. But there is a difference between choosing to leave something and having nothing left to go back to. Raquel did not walk away from her old life. Her old life was taken from her piece by the consequences of loving Sergio Marquina, and the helicopter at the end flying toward freedom with a fake name and a new beginning was not the reward for her sacrifice. It was the only exit left. The internet celebrated this love story for years. Nobody stopped to ask whether Raquel would have chosen it if she had known on the day she walked into that cafe exactly what it was going to cost her. Raquel Murillo gave up more than any character in Money Heist ever gave up for love. Not more dramatically, not more visibly, more completely. She gave the professor something no heist could ever steal and no plan could ever manufacture. A person who chose him fully, permanently, at enormous personal cost, simply because she decided he was worth it. Whether he was worth it, that is a question only Raquel can answer. If this changed how you see Raquel, or if you think she got exactly what she deserved, drop it in the comments. Next video, we go inside the most dangerous mind in Money Heist. Not the professor, not Berlin, the one character who saw through everyone and used what she saw. Alicia Sierra. Next video. See you there.